It seems now a mistake could have helped the suspect behind Sunday's mass shooting inside a Texas church that left 26 people dead. Police also now believe they are closer to understanding why the gunman opened fire. Meantime, the neighbor who chased down and shot the gunman is speaking out. CBS's Courtney Zabowski is in Sutherland Springs, Texas, with the latest.
Residents in and around Sutherland Springs, Texas, held a vigil overnight in memory of those killed during Sunday's massacre inside a church. It appears now a mistake allowed the shooter to buy guns legally, no questions asked. His background check came up clean.
There was no prohibitive information in the systems that we checked that say that he could not have purchased that firearm.
That should not have been the case, though. While serving in the Air Force, the gunman was convicted by court-martial on 2 charges of domestic assault. The Air Force says it's now investigating why his conviction wasn't entered into a national database. That information would have popped up on a background check and prevented him from buying weapons.
More than 15 magazines, 30-round capacity magazines have been recovered.
Police say the suspect fired off at least 450 rounds before a neighbor who heard the gunshots grabbed his own gun and ran barefoot to the church. That neighbor was Stephen Williford.
Every time I heard a shot, I knew that probably represented a life. I was scared to death.
Police say Williford shot the gunman twice, once in the leg, once in the torso. The gunman then fled in a car, crashed, and was found with a self-inflicted gunshot wound to his head. Police believe the shooting was not motivated by race or religion, but rather stemmed from some sort of domestic dispute. Courtney Zabowski for CBS News, Sutherland Springs, Texas.
And police say among the dead were 8 members from a single family that spanned 3 generations, the youngest of which was just 1 year old. In other national headlines this morning, President Donald Trump is in South Korea. It's the second leg of his trip across Asia. The president will try to find common ground with the nation's president, Moon Jae-in, when it comes to North Korea. While in Japan, President Trump refused to rule out a military strike in response to the North's nuclear test. And continuing our coverage, the identities of the suspect and 8 officers involved in this weekend's armed standoff at a Billings West End sporting goods store have been identified. Billings Police Chief Rich St. John identified the suspect as 30-year-old Frank Joey Half Jr. of Crow Agency. Authorities say most recently he lived in Butte at a pre-release center. The 8 officers who fired shots at Half are now on paid leave. They're identified as Sergeant Harley Cagle, Sergeant Brandon Woolley, Sergeant Nate West, Officer Steve Swanson, Officer Tanner Beekler, Officer Darren Hayter, Officer Michael Urena, and Officer Ryan Kramer. Half Jr.'s death came after nearly 9 hours of failed negotiations. A total of 58 officers were on scene through the early morning hours Saturday, including police, the SWAT team, and a bomb squad. Officers deployed non-lethal tools like pepper spray and an audio device that releases a high-pitched sound. Chief St. John says officers wanted to make Half uncomfortable and force them out, but that didn't happen. We're told Half came out of the building multiple times wearing body armor and armed with guns he found inside the store and engaged police in a shootout.
Some of his actions were irrational. We know that he showed a propensity to fight and resist. Short of that, I really don't know what his motivation is, but he certainly caused a lot of mayhem, a lot of heartache for a lot of people. In these situations, our officers are victims of violent crime. They are victims here. Somebody used deadly force or threatened to use deadly force, and they were forced to protect themselves or others.
It was after the last exchange of gunfire around 1 p.m. that Half was shot and died. St. John says there is no reason to believe he took his own life. An autopsy took place on Monday morning, but the results have yet to be released. St. John says he hopes to have the 8 officers back on duty by next week. Elsewhere, Billings police say 2 local girls are believed to be in danger after their non-custodial mother took them from foster care. Susanna Gibson is a white 15-year-old female. She is 5 feet 4 inches tall, weighs 120 pounds, with blue eyes, brown hair, and a pierced lip. Kaden Spencer is a white 13-year-old female. She is 5 feet 3 inches tall, 105 pounds, with green eyes and brown hair. Their non-custodial mother is Tiana Pantaleon. She is a white 35-year-old female, 5 feet 4 inches tall, 150 pounds, with blue eyes and brown hair. They are believed to be in a black 2007 Pontiac G6 with Montana license plates and may be driving to California. The girls are believed to be in danger. If you see them, call the Billings Police Department or 911. Governor Steve Bullock says he will call state lawmakers back to Helena next week for a special session to address Montana's budget gap. Bullock made the announcement Monday afternoon after weeks of speculation. He said the first hearings will be next Monday, with the session officially starting on Tuesday. The state is facing a projected budget deficit of $227 million due to high firefighting costs and lower than expected tax revenues. Bullock was authorized to make up to 10% cuts in state agency funding to close the gap, but he says those cuts could have hurt people who rely on state services. Instead, he's proposed $76 million in cuts, with the remaining 2/3 paid for by legislative changes, including temporary tax increases on rental cars, hotels, and campgrounds.
No one believes there's a perfect solution, a solution that'll make everyone happy, but we agree on more than we disagree.
Bullock's announcement immediately drew opposition from state Republican leaders. House Speaker Austin Knudsen issued a statement criticizing the expense of a special session and saying the governor was asking for tax increases before making an effort to reduce non-essential spending. Meanwhile, Montana's largest health insurance company has a new leader. BlueCross BlueShield of Montana has named Dr. Monica Berner its next president. She was previously the company's chief medical officer and medical director. Before that, she worked at the County Health Center and at Fort Harrison. Berner is the first physician to serve as BlueCross BlueShield president. In a statement, she said she wants to build on the company's successes and encourage innovation. Berner is replacing former President Mike Frank. Frank will continue to oversee health plans in Montana as a vice president with BlueCross BlueShield's parent company. Well, it's election day and voters across Yellowstone County have until 8 o'clock tonight to turn in their ballots. The race drawing the most attention, the election for Billings mayor. It's down between candidates Bill Cole and Jeff Essman. Billings residents will also pick new council members. The same goes for Laurel, where they will elect a new mayor and city council members. Voters there will also decide if they will approve separate elementary and high school bond proposals. In Lockwood, voters must decide if they want to set the wheels in motion to come up with a plan to build its own high school. If voters approve this, the issue of funding will come up in the next election. Countywide, voters must also decide if they support a public safety mill levy, which will help the Yellowstone County Attorney's Office fund operations as the community's population and crime rate grows. The impact of the mill levy would be $10.80 on a $100,000 home or $21.60 on a $200,000 home. Again, ballots are due by 8 o'clock tonight. They can be dropped off at the Yellowstone County Courthouse Elections Office. For all of your Election Day results, join us on air this evening and online at KTVQ.com.